Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you have been watching some of the previous videos, you know that this is my '09 Cayenne S, and it's been my daily driver for a while. You saw that we replaced the engine mounts on those, replaced the thermostat housing and thermostat. I'm sorry, not thermostat housing, but thermostat socket and thermostat. Replaced the vacuum pump that is located on the engine. I've been driving it like very locally, like few miles a day, and I didn't notice anything suspicious. But when I drove it on the interstate or highways, it hesitates to accelerate, especially within, let's say, from 2000 up to maybe 2800 RPMs. It's the car shakes. It just doesn't want to hesitate, doesn't want to accelerate. Once it's past like 3000 RPMs, it's shoots to the sky. It drives great. But in this like a mid-range RPMs, it's very crazy. I checked the scanner and it shows P1027 code, which is an indication that the actual pressure is fluctuating, I guess 25% more than asking pressure. Let's say the car asks for, I don't know, let's say 100 psi. The actual pressure is 125 or more. This kind of indicates there may be the possible issues with a high pressure fuel pump, but we don't know that yet, because very well there could be issues with a low pressure fuel system. So there are two pumps in the tank, a left pump and the right pump, plus there is the fuel filter in the tank, plus there is the fuel pressure regulator in the tank, plus there is the high pressure fuel pump mounted on the engine. There are quite a bit of variables in the system that can go wrong. In regards to the low pressure fuel pumps, the left one and the right one, it's also somewhat interesting, because most of the times those pumps are not working together. Let's say when there is more than 60 liters of gas in a tank, only right pump is working. When there is in between of 15 up to 60 liters, only the left pump is working. If there is below 10 liters, there are two pumps working together. Also, if you're accelerating hard, like wide open throttle, two pumps working just to deliver the enough fuel to the high pressure fuel pump. So this issue, what I described to you, been happening on a full tank, when I assume only the right pump was working. Same thing happened when there was like half tank or quarter of the tank, when there is the left pump working alone. So the issue didn't change in regards to the left pump or right pump working independently, and that makes me believe that the issue is not, at least with the fuel pumps. It very well could be the filter that restricts the flow. It very well could be the fuel pressure regulator. And technically the best way to test it is to hook up the fuel pressure gauge to see what the actual fuel pressure is. Plus it's very good to do some volume test to see how much gas the pump can produce, or the pump can pump, let's say in 1 minute time frame. right now, since there is almost no gas in the tank, I drove it almost till empty because I wanted to replace the fuel filter. If I'm not mistaken, those two pumps supposed to be working together, and what I would like to do now, I would like to remove the fuse for one of the pump, start the car. The car's supposed to be working properly. Also, I forgot to mention in the beginning, when the car is starting, when you start the car the first time, both pumps works together for the first 10 seconds, then one of them shuts off depending on how much fuel is in the tank, either left or right. So right now, since there is almost no fuel in the tank, I'm gonna remove one of the fuses to see if the car keeps running on the other pump, and I'm gonna do the same for the other pump. Let's see how it works. Forgot to mention that yesterday I got the check engine light on and code P1026. Today the check engine light is not going on, so I guess the code 1026 is not present at the moment, because 1027 is not triggering the check engine light. 1026 is triggering check engine light. Alright, so we need to get the access to those fuses, and I'm gonna use the nickel to open the cover that covers the cover for the for the fuses box. Now this is the part where the fuses are and couple relays. This is the part where some other relays are, and I found that it's more easier for me to remove the whole cover and not just this little cover, because it's those three bolts holding the fuse cover in place are it's not easy to undo. It's much easier to undo those four bolts holding the whole cover in place. Now we can remove the whole thing from here, and what we're looking at right now, the fuse number 13, which is for 15 amps right here, third from the bottom, is for the right pump. Fuse number 14, also 15 amps, second from the bottom, is for the left pump. This relay with the 404 writing on it is for the right pump. This relay is for the left pump. And since I drove this car, both of those relays are warm, which means both of the pumps were working. But let's go ahead and let's say remove the fuse number 13, which is for the right pump, I guess. Let's put it here. Let's try to start the car. So technically right now it should start and continue to work just on the left pump. Okay, started. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 or so. So it still continue to work on the left pump. So let's go ahead and turn it off. Let's switch the pumps. So I put the fuse for the right pump, so now the left pump is disconnected. Let's see. Okay, it started. So it works on the right pump only right now. If I had the full tank, or actually if I would have the half tank, this car would stop working after the second number 10 or 15 seconds, because it's like I told you previously, it works on one pump only, except cases when it's just starting for first 10 seconds, or when the wide open throttle is applied, or when there are less than 10 liters in the tank. So both our pumps are, you know, at least working. So we just check that, and I can put the fuse back. And I'm gonna put the cover back. So I'm gonna be waiting for the fuel filter to come in today, and we'll try to replace it with you later on. I forgot to add that with that being said about the pumps, it doesn't mean that both pumps producing the same volume of gas that we do need. It just shows that physically they are working somehow, and the only way to find out if they produce enough fuel is pretty much to do the, let's say, the bucket test, and just to see how much fuel it's gonna put, like in a bucket, like in a 1 minute run, or you know, whatever, and compare to the desired numbers what could be obtained online. But yeah, at least the two pumps are working, and so the next step is gonna be to check the fuel filter, because it's got 143 or 44,000 miles. Most likely filter has never been changed, and probably it's good idea to replace it anyway. Yesterday I received the replacement filter. Put it somewhere here. Yeah, there you go. It's in the package. So it's got this connector for the fuel pump, and I guess for the level sensor. It's got two connections in the bottom, plus this long connection that goes to the other side of the tank. And just to recap, the pump is located on the left hand side. The fuel pressure regulator is connected on the passenger side. So since we need to connect the pump or route the pipe from the driver's side to the passenger side, we're still gonna need to open both openings. And in order to do that, we just need to open this. We need to open the passenger side, and if you have Cayenne 955, you won't have this thing right here, so you'll see the cutouts on the carpet already. But for 957 Cayenne, we're gonna need to remove the fronts, and in order to do that, we're gonna need to undo this and this triple square bolt. Same thing on the other side. And just as a reminder, we're gonna be working with the fuel, with the gas, so I would highly advise to have some something that you can use to extinguish the fire in case it comes up to that. Plus, since my fuel tank is almost empty, that's the most hazardous situation, because it's not the actual gas what makes this job, let's say, dangerous. It's the fumes mixed with the air. So the less gas is in the tank, the more fumes are in the same volume, and once it comes into contact with the ambient air, with the oxygen, this is when it's the most dangerous thing. So you really don't want to do any sparks when there is a lot of gas vapors in the air. Let's undo the seat bottoms along with this thing here and proceed further. I am using this set of triple squares, and I'm gonna put a link in the description. I like them. They're pretty high quality, I would say, because I use them with my impact gun, and it didn't seem to do any damage on those. So so far so good. I didn't manage to damage any of them yet. So for this job, for the seat bottoms, we're gonna use M12 triple square, and again, it looks like it's gonna be just 3 bolts from both sides. All right. I'm gonna use M10 triple square for those 3 bolts. We have this bolt, and one bolt right here in the back. We do not need to undo the bolt holding the seat belt, so just 3 bolts on this side. I mean 3 bolts on the passenger side. Keep in mind, those bolts may have the tread locker, and at least some of them, for example like this one, is very tight. Maybe if it protrudes to the other side of the chassis, it may be rusted if it's exposed to the outside. That could be the issue, but it's not easy. Yeah, it had a blue tread locker, quite a lot of it. Let's see if the ratchet will... Okay, this one is better for sure. It's not as convenient to get to the bolt number 3 in the back. All right. This is bolt number 3, and now we can remove this seat belt buckle, and I'm gonna do the same on the other side. I don't recall if I can get away with the 3 bolts, or on this side I'm gonna need 4 bolts to undo. You know, on this side this metal bracket is the part that holds the back of the seat. That's why it's slightly different comparing to the passenger side. I'm not sure if you can see it on the other camera, but right now I'm using 24-inch extension to get to the bolt, so it goes like right here in between of those things. Otherwise it was hard for me to reach with the ratchet to the bolt. So on the driver's side, you do not remove this thing, but you just lift it. Oh, yeah. So I'm gonna put something underneath, and we pretty much cleared the access to our access hole. So yeah, this is how I get away with that thing, and it's time to open the two access doors. Right now I'm gonna take my time and clean the surroundings from this from debris, because I don't want to debris falling into the tank once I'm working in there. So in the best case scenario, it should be pressure washed. As of right now, it's still okay to use the power tools. Okay, I just did a quick clean. You need to clean around this area mostly. You do not need to clean inside, because the inside part is the actual fuel filter that's gonna come out. You just need to clean the surroundings so they don't fall in the tank once the pump is out. Before I do any disconnection of any lines, I would like to disconnect the connectors, this one and that one, and turn on the car so it sucks the fuel out from the lines, to make sure there is no any pressure in those lines. Otherwise you are risking to how it goes, to spray everything with the gas. So I'm gonna disconnect those two connectors, and I'm gonna turn on the car until it dies by itself. I forgot to show you, sometimes it's not obvious what to press on this connector in order to release it. So this is how I go about it. I press down the connector, and I use the screwdriver and this part as the lever to raise the lock. I disconnected both pumps at the connectors, and then let's start the car. Probably it's gonna die right away. Yep, literally 2 seconds and it died. Same thing on the passenger side. Okay, now it's time to disconnect the lines, or Actually, let me take it back. I don't want to introduce any vapors because I'm gonna need to punch the retainer ring, to release it. So yeah, I think it's better to release the ring first and then to disconnect the lines. Let's check what's probably. I read on the forums that it's fairly easy to undo. Yep. So ring is undone. Just disconnected the line from the filter. I'm gonna undo the same thing on the other side. Actually, I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Please note, there is an arrow right here. So when the ring is closed, this arrow is supposed to look, towards the front of the car. The less dirt in the tank, the better. Alright. Let's see what we can see. So it's got two connections right here. You can disconnect them safely because they look different and you cannot switch them. One is for the pump and the other is for the oil fuel level sending unit. Let's drain the fuel from the pump. It's done. Oops. So both connections been disconnected from the bottom. Now the only thing left is to get to the other side and disconnect this long hose. You also absolutely need to make sure it's a well ventilated space you are working at. Let's remove the ring on this side. If I won't forget, I'm gonna include the diagram of how the pumps and fuel pressure regulator and filter are interconnected. It's pretty much a clusterfuck. It's absolutely insane, but it's been like that for quite some time. It looks like this is the line that connects the filter to the fuel pressure regulator, which is this one, this guy. Now I just disconnected it, and I can remove the filter, and I'm gonna remove it from the other side. Alright, that's the old filter. Okay, the trickiest part gonna be to get this line to the other side, because it's pretty much kinked. So I need to, probably I needed to, you know, let it stretch for a couple days beforehand. Let's remove this thing here. I'm gonna remove those two plastic plugs after all. Line was put through. I did install the pressure regulator back. Then I am installing now the retainer ring with the arrow pointing towards the front of the car, and you would like to carefully, you know, put it back in place from both sides. Alright, looks like it. Now goes this line, this line, and that. And now let's get back to the driver's side to finish the installation. Okay, what do we have on this side? On this side we have those two lines that needs to be hooked up. Where are those? There's the bigger one, isn't it? Exactly the same. Why it doesn't want to click? Interesting. Interesting. Okay, now it's set somehow. Where's the second one? There is another line right here. Okay, now we have two connectors to connect. Let's find those connectors. The first one going through the O-ring. Probably need to find the second one because this one is very short. I won't be able to do anything. One connector, second connector, there is only one position how you can put your pump in so you won't miss it. There is like a notch and a tap, and so yeah, there is no chance you can mess up how you position the pump in place. Okay. Let's check this ring. Okay, the arrow. Okay, remove the connector, removing the protection plug, putting connector in place, clicks. Now let me find the power plug. I guess now we can test if it's gonna start at least. So let's check everything. Pipe connected, connector connected, two pipes connected, connector connected. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Let me check if we have a fuel flow, right, or at least if we have a fuel right in there. Come on. So it's dry. There should be something in there, so I possibly guess, since the filter is dry, so there is no gas in the filter, it needs to get the air, you know, away from the system to pump the fuel. That's my assumption. I found the issue why the car wasn't starting. Remember, this hose, probably you cannot see it, one of the hoses didn't clip on the pump properly, and actually it's pretty much flew away. And I double checked the old pump. Oh my god, not pump, but the filter. I double checked this hose on the old filter. It also doesn't sit tight, so there is something wrong with the connector. And I don't know, this hose is coming from one of the pumps in the tank. I don't know which one, left one or the right one. So if looks like I'm gonna need to order one of the pumps, just because this connector doesn't sit tight. I cannot you know, replace the connector. However, I have another Cayenne, and I actually can source one of the pumps from there. So looks like it's not the end of the world. Let me try to assemble it back, and we'll see if it's gonna behave the same or not. Alright, let's try to start it. It's already a good sign. I like the cold start. Sounds pretty nice. I have some fuel, and I'm gonna put the fuel a little later. Very nice. Pretty much the only test left, first of all, to go to put some fuel in the tank. And let me assemble the back seat. It's gonna go in the reverse order, so there is nothing to shoot. Those two covers gonna go back. Probably there is no any directions, doesn't matter. All right. Okay, I installed the bracket right here in the bottom, on the passenger side as well. So the only thing left is to install the seat back. I also wanted actually to disassemble the old filter, just to see how bad or how good it's clean inside. I just cut open the filter and just want to show you How does it look like? A lot of white stuff is from the, from the plastic I cut from the housing, but this filter doesn't look too happy.